Ready for day 3 of our review? Okay, so this is day 3 of our 7-day Sampler Afghan crochet along with the crochet crowd. And so this is our day 3. Now, we do have a lot of flat texture like we did in the second day. However, this has got a nice popping texture in the center because you're doing, he calls them double trebles. And so I guess that's what it is. I have heard other names, but it's basically doing a double and a triple crochet all together. So, and we do have some of this here because we're in the very last, you're doing back loops only, so it gives you a nice little ridge texture here. But you have a lot of the fillet kind of, it's not fillet work, but you have some V-stitches and stuff, which leaves you some open, but not too much. I kind of like this one. I like the pop in the center. It gives it some depth. And I'm all about texture. I hate to say that, but I really like textured stuff. So there's a couple of things that I would remind you of. I've given this tip a couple, yes, I've still got a lot of ends to weave in on this one. They give a great tip in making sure that you do it in an assembly line. So in this case, you would change color. When you change color, you would just do all of them. So you would do all the center and then do all of the squaring off and then do all of this big panel part. And so every time you change color, instead of changing color, just do all of your pieces and get them ready for that next color. It does save time. I hadn't been doing that on the first one, but I am doing them on the second, on the rest of the ones for the squares that I'm doing. The other tip that he gives is to weave in your ends at the beginning of each round, well, at the end of each round before you go to the next one. That's a good tip for most people. It helps you keep up with taking care of it so you don't have all of them to do at the end. However, I have one problem with it, and that is that if you, when you do it, when you weave in your end, for me, my ends tend, when I do the very last end and weave it in, it tightens everything up, so it's hard to get back into that stitch. So this is what I would suggest doing. When you finish a color, go back to the color before. Don't weave in your ends. So in this case, like when I finish the cream, I go ahead and do my next color, the green. When I finish the green, I go back in and weave in the ends for the cream. And then when I finish the light green, I'm going back and weaving in the colors for the dark green, so that it doesn't pull it too tight for make it hard to get in to the stitch. And then my last, well, no, not necessarily my last tip. Make sure that my other tip is to have pulled up the hard written instructions. You can watch the video. Mikey is great. He just doesn't tell you how many stitches you have to have. And so sometimes, I don't know about you, but I've got a problem with counting stitches. I have to make sure I count them. Otherwise, and especially important when you're doing squares that you're going to be putting together later, because you don't want to have, these have all got 29 on each side, and you don't want to end up with 30 on one, 28 on another. You know, you want them all to match. So you need to make sure that you check your instructions and make sure you're getting the stitches that you need to be getting on each round. My last tip I would give you is this is going to have a whole lot of ends to weave in. So what I've done is I clean out, for us, we like queso, and so I get my Tostitos queso because it's got a wide top jar and it's short and it's not going to fall over or get knocked over. and I take my ends as I clip them and put them all in here. It'll make it easier when you're throwing them away. If you don't throw away your ends, some people bag them up and use them for stuffing, for amigurumi, and so that just collects them for that. They don't get all over the place. It keeps the area clean and nice, and it's actually kind of fun in a cool jar when you've got all different colors and stuff. Like for my blanket that I'm doing with my scrap blankets and stuff, it gives you like a rainbow kind of thing, and it's really kind of a little fun thing to do. This one doesn't have the labels, don't pull off of it very easily, but if you had the labels that you could pull off and then you could cover the top in something, it'd be kind of fun. It'd be like having a button jar or something. It'd be kind of cute. Anyway, but it does keep the mess from getting out of hand. So I find it interesting that we're kind of getting away from the pop of texture that we got on the first one. So I'm looking forward to the next one. I have to work my little fingers off because I'm trying to double it. I'm not just doing 5, I'm trying to do 10. And so I have given up on trying to do 10 for this week. I will try to finish it all up next week from when I'm putting it all together. And I will try to put my first section together so that on day 7 I can tell you how well it's coming along. But just to give you an idea, this again is day 3, and I'm liking the textures. I think it's going to make a lovely bedspread or an Afghan. And so again, be safe out there, take care of each other, and if you have yarn, be creative.